Welcome back, friends, for the second session of Inspiro 2020. A very cheerful good afternoon to everyone. Further embarking on our journey, it's time for Chai Pe Charcha.
Being Indian, our day without chai feels incomplete. Our life revolves around this mere cup of tea, whether it's reading the newspaper, having discussion with friends, staying up late night with evening snacks, or even during rains.
Just sit back and sip through the special masaledar chai and feel the adrenaline rush through your brain. It is evident that when stories meet chai, they make a perfect combo.
So, introducing our next speaker, who has utilized the above combo to create a widely acknowledged platform for sharing inspiring and positive stories from all over India. Shruti Chaturvedi.
Hi everyone, thank you so much Vatsal and Aditya for the introduction. And I hope all of you are having a great day. Is there a way I can see how many people are live? Okay, I can see in the comments now. All right. Hi guys, good afternoon, and I hope all of you are doing well. And it's kind of a weird day because it's just been a few hours when I got to know that I am COVID positive. And I think this is my first experience as a speaker with COVID positive. So, but it's been a very inspiring sessions throughout. And I think this is my lesson number one. I think when they told me to share my entrepreneurship lessons, this was my lesson number one, that, like, no matter what, when you become an entrepreneur, you don't become an entrepreneur, you become whatever you want to. Always wake up, show up, and just be there. Like there's a lot of value in being consistently right there, no matter how many times you know that you will be turned down. But the point is to be there. A little bit about my journey. I am not a favorite speaker to speak at college sessions because my story is pretty, I would say, something that teachers do not like to hear. I am an engineering dropout. I studied science, and then I took up engineering because I really loved maths and physics. And but I think 1 year down the line, not even 1 year, 6 months down the line, I realized that was not for me. And after a lot of fights at home and a lot of agitation, I quit engineering. Now that is one thing that teachers don't want students to get inspired from. But I genuinely felt that I would make a horrible engineer if I were to continue my engineering session for the next 4 years, and it left me highly demotivated. So, but it took a certain level of privilege. It took a certain level of intuition to quit it. And when I quit, I did not know what I wanted to do. So now that is something that I guess every student at some point in their lives goes through, where they know what they don't want to do, but they don't know what they want to do. And how do we expect a 18, 19-year-old to even know about it, right? So I did not know what I wanted to do, and I quit engineering, and I was just looking around, and I remember sitting on the dinner table and telling my father I wanted to BA. And for somebody who was doing engineering from one of the premier universities, my father was a little taken aback. And my father, being in HR, he told me that BA वालों को हम 10,000 का salary देते हैं. That, like in English, it's that we give 10,000 rupees of salary to people who have BA. Now, of course, like that is something that I was never going to settle for. And that gave me a thought that, okay, like I wanted to be, I wanted to study psychology, because psychology is something that I find extremely interesting. And I feel no matter what field you are in, but just to be good social beings, a certain understanding of psychology really helps. So I pursued psychology, and I still did not know what I wanted to do career-wise, though I wanted to study psychology, but not pursue it career-wise. And that is when I started, I crafted a 12-month plan for myself, where I was going to intern in different companies in different streams for the next 2 years. So I made like a 12-month plan, and then which was followed by another 12-month plan at the end of the first 12-month plan. So from day one of my college, I have been working at different companies. I worked in sales, accounts, marketing, design, HR, finance, in every stream possible. I worked and I was like, okay, if I will find one day when I will find a stream that makes me get up and go to work, is the career path that I'm going to choose. And I've had some brilliant experiences in all my internships. And the most important experience, I would say, is how to work in an organization, how to work with a boss, and how to take orders. And I think that is a very interesting um learning that I guess every entrepreneur should eventually have when you're all building your own businesses. And the more curious you are, like I remember there was this one internship at a newspaper house where my only job, like literally my only job, was when the reporter would say chai lekar aao, and I would get them chai. They would say print diya hai, print lekar aao, and I would get them print. And that was literally all that my job was. And that was a good 5-6 hours a day. Now, either I could have quit the internship, either I could have done what I was being asked to do, which was give them chai and give them prints and give them pen and whatever they asked for, or carry their cameras. The third option was that every time I had free time, which was literally all the 6 hours of the day, I had so much of mental space that I would just look around all the time, and I would go from one chair to another chair to third chair and just sit with different people. I sit with editors, I'd sit with reporters, I'd sit with production houses, production team, and I would just try to grab whatever they were doing. So that kind of gave me an idea about how a media house works. Now, by the end of my graduation, I was still not very sure what I wanted to do. I started studying for my MBA course. I started preparing for CAT, and during that 1 year break that I had when I was preparing for CAT, I realized, okay, like I need to do. This is my last chance. This is my last 1 year to do whatever I want to do, because I knew how the cycle works for most of the Indian students that way, right? Like you go for an MBA, you take a hefty education loan, then you take up a job to fill that, to like pay off that education loan, and the cycle just keeps going on. And then you're in the job, then you'll get married, then you'll have kids, and then like it's a 10-15 years gone right there. And this is true, I guess, for almost every middle class student out there. So I knew, okay, like this is my 1 year. I wanted to do whatever I want to, and that is when I took up a project called Chaai-Pani. Now, when I was working with media houses, my last stint was as a news anchor at one of the very popular news channels in Gujarat. And now that is when I realized that there was a huge market, like where people like you and I, like people of our generation, were not tuning into news anymore. Like we don't like news anymore, especially today, is because of how sad the journalism has become, how negative the news is, how sensationalized the news is, and all it does is basically just mess with our brains, right? So I would see that, and I would come across so many interesting stories, so many amazing people who were doing amazing work out there, and I would take it to my channel head and I'd be like, okay, let's do a show on this, and they would see everything and they'd be like, okay, it's not TRP friendly, right? Like usse TRP nahi milega, so we can't run this show. And yeah, and this continued for good 6-7 months, and on the sides. So I had recently at that time learned how to blog. So I started a blog called chaipani.blogspot.com back then, and yeah, I started putting all the stories that were all getting rejected at the news company that I was working in because they didn't find it TRP friendly enough. And I started putting all those stories on the blog. And eventually, by the time my CAT results came and my MBA interviews were cleared and stuff like that, by then we had a good 25,000 subscribers. We had 4 people full-time team. And I remember the day I had to go to apply for my education loan was the day that I had to finally make the decision that I'm going for the MBA. And by then I was so involved in the project because we'd come across such amazing people doing such amazing thing. And that gave me at least a sense that there is a huge market for positive stories, for stories that for news that people read and they feel empowered. They feel that, okay, this is something meaningful that I've read, or at least there is a call to action to the news that, if I read the news every morning, it makes me feel helpless. Like I read the newspaper, I watch the news channel, it makes me feel, okay, like the country is going to the dump, there is not going to be a better tomorrow. But there has to be a format of news that tells people, okay, everything is not fine, this is how it is, but there is a way out of it. This is how you can contribute. There is a way out of it. These are the people who are doing it. So let's appreciate them. Let's join their cause and empower them. So that is the kind of format that we now use on Chaai-Pani.com. I launched Chaai-Pani.com in October of 2015. It was just me and this one friend of mine from college who had a DSLR camera back then. And both of us started, we would just go to different places in Ahmedabad and we would just find people, tell their stories. And we did not know the value that people would see in this. Now, eventually, in our college, Microsoft Business Plan karke competition tha. So Microsoft VFest people came to our college and they were like, whoever has a business plan and whoever wins gets to go to Goa for free for the finals. And I saw that and I was like, okay, like I want to do this. And I had no idea about what a business plan is or how to make a startup or anything at all. All I had was a Facebook page called Chaai-Pani. So I remember that when this thing came, and I knew for a matter of fact that I was a middle class girl. So to convince your parents to send you to Goa for nothing, but like just to go and chill was definitely not possible for the next 10 years of my life at that point. So I made up a business plan and I remember Googling how to start up. And I came through different articles and I met so many different people. I was like, okay, what is a business model? How to make a business model? This is what I want to do. How do I make revenue out of it? And I remember I just put together everything on a presentation. There was nothing, there was no business at all. There was just one presentation. And I don't exactly remember how I presented it, but I won the regional finals, and of course I was going to Goa for free, and I think that was literally my ultimate reward, right? Going to Goa for free for your finals. I was definitely not interested for the finals, and then I did come to Goa for free. And I presented here, and I remember that day when I came here, and there were like different students from different top MBA colleges of India. There were people from FMS and IIMs and SIBMs and SIIB, and they were all like sleek and like good suits and shirts and stuff like that, doing something on Excel sheet. Now I did not know what were they doing on Excel sheet because इतना तो मैंने prepare ही नहीं किया था किसी चीज के लिए. So I remember I just looked at all of them and I was like, okay, I don't want to present. My ultimate reward has come, which is where I am going. I'm going to Goa, I'm enjoying Goa, and I'm going back home. But there was this one girl, some random girl who was like, no, you've come all the way, so you have to present. And then I did present, and somehow even I was the first runner-up back then. So I think that was the value of the idea. And that's when I won a certain reward that we were only supposed to invest in the company. Is when I said, okay, हाँ चलो इतना सब लोग appreciation दे रहे हैं, तो let's just start a company. So I remember after my Goa trip, I went back home and then I Googled how to start a startup, and I met my father's CA. I met different people and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And people helped me refine. And that's how Chaai-Pani started. And that's the journey of it. Now the entrepreneurship part of it. Now that is, अब entrepreneurship का ना कोई school नहीं होता. There is no school of entrepreneurship where you can learn, or there is no definitive textbook that you can read and you know, okay, like this is how to be an entrepreneur, right? Every day is a learning. Now, one thing that stops everybody when they are starting is, where do we get the money from? And that was also a kind of a barrier to me when I started, because my parents were completely against me not going for an MBA, and they refused to support at that point of time. Now they are highly supportive, but at that point of time I needed money to start, and I remember I needed 4 lakh rupees to start and tell the first 100 stories on the platform. And we went out and I tried asking my father, I tried asking my relatives and stuff like that, but of course like nobody was going to lend. So I launched a crowdfunding campaign. Now crowdfunding is basically chanda ikhatta karna par thoda English mein. So crowdfunding mein basically you go to your friends, your families, and you tell them that donate whatever you want. Like, I want to start a business. I don't have anything to give you, but I want to start this and I need your support. So whatever, from 100 rupees to 1,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees, whatever you can give, just give me something. So I started a crowdfunding campaign, which was the first peak, I would say, for Chaai-Pani, where we raised, like within 9 days, we raised 5.5 lakh rupees from over 180 people across the country. And our only promise to them was that we want to build a platform where we are going to tell positive impact stories of people. We are going to do journalism, but in a very different way. We are going to bring more of constructive journalism in the picture, like journalism that does not make people go further away from each other but brings people together, journalism that solves problem. And that is what we want to do, and people supported that idea, and 180 people got together. They gave us 5 lakh rupees, 5.5 lakh rupees for nothing in return at all. And that's how the platform started. That's how our initial funding of the platform started. Coming to now, we are a 35 people team. We also have a communication and a PR firm as well. And yes, now I shifted to Goa, so we work out of Goa. So anything from here, like anchors, I welcome you in here. Abhi main akele bolti rahungi. I'll keep going on with the monologue. So why don't you guys ask me whatever you have, any questions at all, and I would love to answer it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was indeed a really motivating session you took over. So,
Thank
for the Q&A session, I'll go with the first question. So, COVID has turned plenty of businesses up and down. So, you surely would have planned about a strategy for the post-COVID era. So, what difference will we be able to see in 2021 from Chaai-Pani compared to today?
Yeah. So I think one very big difference that we have seen after COVID. So I think COVID has taught us all one thing, that we do not need so many things, that we do not need to spend on so many things, right? So which is, of course, taken back the consumer power, because people are losing jobs. There's so much of unemployment out there. And so many people, especially after lockdown, I think I'm wearing these clothes after like months now, because there is nowhere to wear them and go out. So now you realize how many clothes like unnecessarily you have. So I think consumerism somewhere has gone down. Now, how that impacts your business is when people stop buying, you can't sell. So, and when you can't sell, you can't earn more money, right? So, I think one thing that we did with Chaai-Pani right in the beginning, which is in March, is when we started getting a sense that okay, it's going to go bad. So, right then. We cut down a lot of our costs. So I think we first of all we started letting go of our office spaces. We cut down on marketing cost. We cut down on content production cost for us. So now a lot of content production happens online for us, and we've taken the company remotely. So everybody works remotely, and fortunately, after I shifted to Goa, like half my team works out of Goa and half the team works out of Bombay. So we already had a good remote structure at that point of time. So I think one, that part was sorted. Secondly, our business has not been affected heavily is because content consumption has increased a lot throughout the lockdown. So more and more people are consuming content. And even our marketing and PR business has took up, because all the businesses are investing on digital properties, on promotions, on advertisements, because everybody is on the phone and laptop all the time. So I think that part of the business has not been impacted, and that is also something that we're focusing on for the year 2021, because right now we don't want to profit. The focus is not on profit. The focus is only on survival. We do not want to lay off a single person, and we want to survive through it. So I think all the focus is on survival. Content wise, we figured like there is so much anxiety, there's so much fatigue right now, not just COVID, but even politically, socio-politically also, there's so much fatigue. And we're seeing so many young people feel so disheartened every day about this country, that, you know, like this country is not worth being and all of that. But there are, at the same time, there are so many amazing people who are doing crazy things to keep the country going, who are, and I would just call them like they're the real heroes out there. So we are focusing a lot on creating content around those people, so that it also gives hopes to our readers that, okay, like no matter how things look right now, we will do better, we will get better, because there are so many people who are trying to make it better. So that is how things have changed for us. But I guess revenue-wise, profitability-wise, we have only grown through the lockdown, which is something we did not expect, but that's worked out. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Before moving towards the next question, I would like to give a message to all our viewers. Please fill the feedback form given in the description as well in the live chat. The second question is how difficult it was for you to quit engineering and study psychology. How did you deal with the people who didn't support your decision?
I fought. So I think the decision for me was like this was in the first 2 months only that mentally I was prepared that I don't want to do this for next 4 years of my life. But even then, there is a lack of opportunity, and especially like when you've spent so much money to get admission and आपका एक साल का fees भर दिया होता है अपने and stuff like that, so it's very difficult to go back home and tell your parents that okay, I'm going to put all of that to waste. So I think I spent at least 2-3 months just mentally preparing myself, and at the same time, I did not want to come out of engineering as a loser. So I still had I guess my last score was 8.9 when I quit engineering. So like that was a good point for me to tell my parents that okay, I'm not bad at this. Like I know how to do maths, I know how to do physics. I just don't want to do it. And that is, to an Indian parent, that is a very difficult thing to explain that I don't want to do this. So I mean, I remember 3 days. Tabhi na Anna Hazare had launched this dharna thing, right? Like not eating anything and Dokpal bill, yes. And at that time, so this was like a huge learning for me that if you want to get anything done, don't eat. Like emotionally blackmail everyone, don't eat. So I told my parents, okay, I'm not going to eat at all. I remember waking up and my parents were like, oh, go to the college, and I sat on the stairs and I was like, no, I am not going. Like you do whatever you want. My bus has come, but I'm not going to go. So, and I did not eat. Like, of course, I had stocked like a few biscuits and all that secretly in my bags, but my parents thought like she's not eating at all. So I guess that worked. And but other than that, I think my parents were pretty easy to convince compared to other parents. And when they exactly know, and I guess my parents are, at least my father for that matter, he's very logical, and he's also somebody who's very forward minded, where he says, okay, like if you don't want to do this, then what next? But I had already prepared my what next plan before breaking the news to them that I'm not going to do this. But when it comes to dealing with people who don't take it, I remember my relatives would be like that, oh, अच्छा उससे पढ़ाई नहीं हुआ होगा engineering का, इसके लिए she left. And I remember, and I got 8.9 ka score, and I was like, no, this is my score, okay, I could do it, and I did it really well, just that I don't want to do it. So I was still in a position, but I guess like 2 years, 3 years down the line, people think that you are a loser or you made the wrong mistake, and everybody is trying to give you advices and stuff like that. But if you shut your ears for 1 or 2 years max, the moment you start getting recognition in your different alternative paths and your different fields, people will start supporting you. But keeping your ears shut at that point of time is very important, because in India, everybody has advice to give. Everybody who's never achieved a thing has an advice to give, and everybody has like some experience to judge you and criticize you and stuff like that. So just keep your ears off at that time. Just focus on what you've decided to do and just do it really, really well.
Yes.
Ma'am, what was the branch in engineering?
EC.
EC.
Yeah, electronics and communications. Yeah.
So the next question is from Kasim Nalawala. He asked you that, he says that, I think I don't have time to test all kind of jibs. So what's the best thing to do right now?
Yeah, see, like everybody will tell you that okay, this is the next thing, engineering kar lo, bahut scope hai, MBA kar lo, bahut scope hai. But like there is this reference in Dear Zindagi, right? When we go to buy a chair, how do we buy a chair? We always sit on different chairs and we see which chair fits us the best. So I think that is literally the way to go. And if you're a student, you should do internships. Try to do as many internships as possible, and do it from the perspective of you sitting on the chair and seeing if the chair fits you or not. So I think if you can't do say like 2 years of different internships, at least do like 6 months of different internships. Not only will it give you a good exposure, you will build your good network. So when I started my news platform, thanks to my internships and my jobs, I already knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of reporters, I knew a lot of camera people, I knew a lot of stringers, and I knew how the business worked inside out. Like internship was my way to go inside the business, see how the business works, and come out and start my business. So take your experiences that way, but I don't think there is an alternative to sitting on the chair and finding out which chairs fit you.
Great, ma'am.
Okay, what
So
is
the
it?
next question is asked by Satak Shah. He says that yes, dreams do come true. So what are your dreams in your professional career which you would love to convert to reality?
I think I am already converting them to reality every single day when I wake up. But I have a dream to launch a news channel, like only a sensible news channel, especially like this Sushant Singh के time से जो कर दिया ना news channel से उसके बाद में the agitation is so much that I actually want to launch a news channel which talks about issues that really matter and talks it in a way that does not give you anxiety when you watch it, right? Like it does not make you stupid, it does not give you anxiety, it does not give you stress, but tells you issues that actually matter, speaks to the power, and brings people together rather than putting people apart. So that is one dream that I have right now from my professional career. Skydiving or scuba diving? Skydiving. Sea or mountain? Sea. I love both, and Goa is a good combination of both of it. Like we have amazing mountain ranges and sea here. Pizza or pasta? Pizza. Job or entrepreneurship? Any day entrepreneurship. Even if it's a job, it would still be a very entrepreneurial job. Okay, we have another question. Rapid fire.
The rapid fire.
Okay, Goa or Gujarat? Goa any day. I love Gujarat. Like my business flourished from Gujarat. It still flourishes from Gujarat, but living Goa any day. Marketing or HR? Marketing. Chai or pani? Chai.
Great. So,
The
why Nayak asked that in one of your TED Talks, you mentioned about getting the spelling wrong of cat. So,
yeah.
could you share the same story with us?
Sure. So I remember I was in school. I was very tiny, and हमको alphabet मतलब words सिखाते थे, letters सिखाते थे, and we had a dictation. You know, all of us in our school we had this dictation test where teacher would say the word and you had to write the spelling, and then teacher would correct it and stuff like that. So we had a dictation test, and I was a very fudgy student. I was not a cool student at all. I was somebody वो एक mark cut होता था तो मैं लेके जाती थी मेरा एक mark cut क्यों हुआ वैसे वाली student थी मैं काफी. So I remember my cat ka spelling, what was it exactly? I put QUET, cat. Yeah.
Yes.
And and I made that mistake, and of course वो उसको गलत लिखा था उन्होंने, मतलब she marked it wrong. And when I got my paper, because she said cat, and if you phonetically see, QUET is the right spelling of cat that way, right? So when I got the paper, and I was like, why is my QUET cat wrong? And then I had this habit of comparing my paper with the other person. And I saw the other person's paper और उसने भी कुछ तो spelling लिखा था QUAT cat या ऐसा कुछ तो लिखा था. And I was like, his QAT cat is also wrong, my QUET cat is also wrong. How the fuck does this teacher know that CAT cat is right? So I think that was a very important learning for me at that point of time, that maybe things that are considered wrong for other people are not really wrong. They are just made to be wrong that way. And everybody has a different right. Everybody has a different way of looking at things. And I think our education system also kind of, and it has done to me, it has done to you, it has done to almost the entire country, right? Like it schools to in a way कि हाँ मतलब ये सही है ये गलत है, this is right, this is wrong, this is correct, this is incorrect, and there is no alternative way where we are given to explore also, okay, that maybe this is not wrong. Like maybe my parents were told, you know, like this WhatsApp forwards we keep getting कि शास्त्रों में लिखा है कि ऐसा करने से ये होता है. Nobody has read the शास्त्र, right? And everybody is like, हाँ पर मैंने सुना है कि शास्त्रों में लिखा है, and everybody has heard only कि शास्त्रों में लिखा है. So I think the ability to critically think, to ask questions, to even just say that, okay, like this is bullshit, like we call it rules now, right? Like bullshit rules, like where you say, okay, like this is bullshit and I want to question it. Maybe you are right, maybe you will turn out right, but I need to question it. So I think everybody should question things as much as possible, be curious, try to look at things differently. Spelling cat is a very very stupid way of doing about it, but yeah, I was, I guess, what, 6-year-old or something, and that was the best I could come up with. QUET cat.
Yes, ma'am. So the next question is from Hardik. He says that if a student who will willingly to study well in with MBA as a master's, and he wants also to start his own startup with any field for business, so please give your suggestions and guidance for these students as well.
You can do it. A lot of people do it from their existing MBA colleges. for that, but I suggest that you pick up a college that has a support system for students who are starting up. Now a lot of colleges have e-cells and incubation centers in the college itself. So very strictly, like I remember the college that I went to, वहाँ पे 18 hours a day would just spend like just studying and like filling in your assignments and stuff like that. So I knew there was no scope of me starting up in the college. But now there are so many colleges, even in Gujarat itself. Like we have which ones? Like there is LJ, and then there is Swarnim, and then there is
SSRP.
huh? Which one?
I was referring to some SSR. I
SSIP,
don't.
the student startup.
Yes, SSIP.
SSIP, student startup.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so even Gujarat University has something called GUSEC. So now a lot of MBA colleges also support their students to start up. So pick up a college that supports you from that, because one, you will have to balance your study and you cannot really go wrong with your studies. So you have to balance your study, you will have your corporate projects, you'll also have your internships, and then you have to do your startup. So you need a very supporting environment. And pick up a college which is also close to colleges of different streams, so that because when you put a team together, you need people of different expertise which you may or may not find in your campus. So you will need to be out there in different campuses, and I think collaborative starting up is really very interesting. And if you are doing an MBA and starting up, I think the biggest learning for you will be like to hands down just do a live practical MBA when you are starting up. So that's a fantastic thing to do, and the facility was not available back when I did, but now there are so many amazing colleges. So please feel free and please go ahead and do it. Like maybe it will fail, maybe it will not fail, but it will be the best learning of your life. So yeah.
Satak Shah asked that we have some issues going around in the country regarding to women. Very few women generally prefer entrepreneurship. So what's your message for them, and what is that motivation mantra you would like to give?
See, like I agree, like it's not an easy thing to be a woman in this country and start anything, and you need a huge level of independence to be able to start up. Honestly, like today, I don't have to ask anyone where I have to go. If I have work, I will just have to book a flight. I go, I get my work done, I come back. So, but I think that is also the kind of independence you earn over time after you start up and after you start making your own money. So, more than starting up as a woman, very important part is to become financially independent. So, the moment you are financially independent, you are actually not answerable to anyone, and the first is your family. So, one is number that. Entrepreneurship wise, I think there have been several scientific studies which have shown that women make us better founders than men. Nothing against men though, but yeah, that's like a brownie point. So if you are a woman starting up, I think so. My mother, okay, like this is, I don't know how how politically correct this advice is, but I'm from UP. Like my parents are from UP, from Mathura, and my mother used to teach me this one thing since childhood, be it entrepreneurship or no entrepreneurship. It's called "Haat ka sacha, langot ka pakka." So, which means "Haat ka sacha" is be honest, and "Langot ka pakka" is have your character in place. So, if both these things are in place, there is nobody in this world who can harm you. So, just be honest in what you do, and don't let anybody question your character, especially as a woman. If there is a competitor and if they want to put you down, the first thing they're going to use you is malign your character. So don't let that hit you. People will come, people will say things, but again, like the best is a kaan band kar lene ka, sunna hi nahi hai humko kuch, like put nice earphones in your ears and just keep doing things that you have to. Women make great financial brains, women make great entrepreneurial brains generally, also because of the experiences that we generally have in our day-to-day life. So I think go ahead and do it, and just don't think too much about naysayers. Don't think too much about, oh, मैं ये कैसे करूँगी, यहाँ कैसे जाऊँगी. Just use your power, use every trait that you have to your advantage.
Yes, ma'am. So the next question is how can LinkedIn profile help in placements or job? How important is making a proper LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, I mean, we hire a lot of interns and a lot of people who apply for jobs through LinkedIn. But I think LinkedIn is a very interesting platform to use if you know how to use it. Like, I don't know, like, there are no tips and tricks to it, but I will tell you, like, say, some few top mistakes that people do when they're applying for a job. So especially जब वो copy paste करके भेजते हैं, right? Like now an employer always knows when you are doing this copy paste business, क्योंकि उनको हमको दिन के 100 200 messages आते हैं ऐसे वाले जो copy pasted होते हैं. So one, you have to stand out. So your profile has to be made well, your picture should be good, your profile should have a good description, good English preferably. If you're not comfortable with English, whatever language you are comfortable with, but don't try to be pretentious, don't try to be something that you are not. Second is, when you are applying, research about the company before you are applying, research about the person before you are applying. There have been people who applied to Chaai-Pani saying it's a great restaurant. And I'm like, okay, but then you didn't even like research on my LinkedIn profile as well. So like completely, if you're applying for jobs or internship, when somebody is hiring you, they are always looking for how can you make my life easier, right? So when you are applying, always, and this is something that I used to do when I was in college and I was applying for jobs and things, where I would research everything about them. And then I would find this one thing which they were lacking, and I would be like, okay, like, I think you're lacking here. I am really good at this, so I think I can come to your company and I can fix this thing for you. So like now that is a direct trade right there. Like that's the great pitch to work on. So even on LinkedIn, when you are sending messages, don't do this copy paste business at all, because it doesn't work. Always write like a personalized message and tell people that, okay, like, I research about your company, I like this thing about it, I think this is where you're lacking, I think this is my these are my skills and I can help you, this is the amount of time that I have, and please let me know when can I connect. Number 2 is following up. Keep following up with people, because I don't know about others, but especially I am horrible at LinkedIn. Like my LinkedIn is so full, it is impossible to like read all the messages every day or respond to them. So if you want to be read, like try to reach out through different platforms. आपको LinkedIn से email ID भी मिल जाता है लोगों का. So write an email to them, write an email to their HR. Most companies also have their career section listed on their website or something. So yeah, do that and use LinkedIn. And on your profile, please don't do that copy paste business on your statuses. Like a lot of people keep posting this motivational things on their LinkedIn, which is really stupid. Like if a candidate I had to hire would do that, first thing I would ask is like, stop copy pasting this WhatsApp forwards on your LinkedIn. So yeah, don't do that as well. Like try to be as authentic as possible, as original. You don't have to impress anyone at all. Like you just have to be good at what you are doing. Others will automatically be impressed. So just be authentic, just be yourself, and don't pretend to be somebody you're not.
Thank you, ma'am. So the next question is by Vinita Khua. She asked that, don't you think people also need to know the reality and cover-ups, botch-ups should be exposed rather than not looking into it?
I don't think I get the question exactly, but of course, people need to know the reality. People need to see through the bullshit. Watch-ups should be exposed, and I think that is what media was always supposed to do. And like now we have a media of distraction. Like it's a ministry of distraction. I would say that अगर उनको पता है कि हाँ, if we are messing up with COVID and economy and healthcare and all that, what do? You make a Riya Chakraborty ka case out of it, make a villain and make the entire country hate one person so that everything else you are distracted from. So I think that has been, and I think media does this also because people are stupid enough to fall for it. And I would not just say stupid, they are also naive, because again, like how how we've been educated, how our culture is, don't question, don't ask questions, believe what this person is saying, believe what that person is saying. So we don't exactly know who to believe. And there are so many people in this country who hardly have any education at all, who have any source of entertainment. अब उनके लिए तो एक रिया चक्रवर्ती मिल गई, and this country loves to hate women. So if they find one woman to hate, they would love it for like 1 month, 2 months, completely. So it's made up like a entire story, and it's given to us. But I guess it is up to a lot of students now, a lot of young people who are taking up to expose these people and to tell the truth to as many people. Like even if you're on your family WhatsApp group, you can tell the truth, do that. Itna fake news milta hai, and I only see young people like trying to find out the actual news. Like so many fake news you get. And on my family group as well, like I have so many cousins, young people who are the ones who know, uncle, you are wrong, mama, aap ye galat bol rahe ho, chacha, you are saying wrong. this is the truth. So fact check everything, and be aware, politically aware for sure. I mean, for us young people, especially now, it's very important.
So the last question for the session is from
Hmm.
Abhilasha. If some of your juniors ask you what to join after 12th, what will be your suggestion, ma'am?
Too young to tell, man. Like 12th के बाद में तो जो मन में आए, like whatever you feel like studying. I think after 12th is something, because everybody will say, oh, like engineering has a lot of scope, medical has a lot of scope, but nobody has a clue about what is going to have a scope, right? Like people lied to us saying engineering has a lot of scope, and by the time we were in engineering, there were no jobs for engineers at all, right? So I think when you are a student, the focus should be on what you love studying the most. Like I loved maths and physics, so I was like, okay, I love it, so I want to do it. Now I love psychology, so I was like, okay, I want to study psychology, so I studied. So I think the point of a college is to help you study what you feel like study rather than make you like a good product to sell in the market for a job. But 12th is too soon to say, I think, and I tell this to everybody in India, right? Like they have made like this huge milestone about 10th and 12th, and 10th and 12th में पता भी नहीं होता हमको क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है, that, and that's too young. So I guess focus on something that you love doing when you are in 12th. If you love numbers, if you love accounts, if you want to do a business, do a CA, do a BCom. There are so many humanities courses, and I guess now there is an entire different era of different streams of things that you can study about. So yeah, I would just say like whatever you feel like studying, whatever makes you wake up in the morning and go to the college to study, do that. Life is too short, like to study something you don't like studying.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That was really an interesting question answer session. Like the audience were very motivated by this.
Thank you so much. And it was lovely talking to you guys. And I guess there is one more question.
Uh,
Uh, okay. You said you wish to launch your own channel one day. Channels like NDTV Hub do exist. How can you explain yourself being different from them? I'm the only difference that Chaai-Pani even today has is that we appeal to young people. Like today's young people will become old people after 10 years, but we will still be appealing to the young people. So I guess because I think that is very important in a country which has the youngest population in the world, is to be youthfully relevant to people. I guess NDTV is a brilliant channel. I love the anchors. Ravish Kumar is somebody I worship like a god. I love that channel as well. But I guess they're pretty, and I think for young people, we don't stick to news is because it's not catchy enough, not interesting enough, not funny enough. So I would like to make a channel which is very relevant to young people, does the job of asking the questions to the government, does the job of putting people accountable, but is also very hopeful and brings the community together and brings people together very importantly.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting me on this session. I wish all of you all the best. Don't take too much pressure about things, and you guys are doing great.
Ma'am, since due to the current scenario, we will
Hmm.
not be able to present you memento in person. So we
Yeah.
all will like to present you a memento on behalf of the whole IEEE ADIT SB in a virtual form.
How sweet. Thank you so much. This is lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you so
ma'am.
much. All the best for your coming sessions, and
Yes.
all the best to all of you.
It was a pleasure to have you with us.
So
So, yes.
friends, you
So,
can connect with ma'am
hope
on
you
the
all,
LinkedIn and various other platform whose link is given in the description below.
and also don't forget to like, share this stream, and follow ADIT CVM University, and follow and subscribe its YouTube channel for more such exciting and amazing events.
And don't miss out. Check yourself sharp at 6 p.m. IST for the evening session. Till then, we take a leave.
Thank you so much. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you.
Thank you, friends.